Good morning, everyone. Just want to first start off by saying thank you for all of you taking time out of your day to join us for this webinar. Got a good presentation put together for you guys today. As the tax problem and liens, is a thing that people talk about a lot. I think it's a timely time to discuss Roth conversions. And so we're excited to have Grant Smith and Zach Brown, our partners over at Athene, with us today. We're going to talk about partial Roth conversions and how um, Athene's really made it easy for people to do partial Roth conversions. And so we're going to talk through that process a little bit. They're going to talk a little bit about a few of the products that we would encourage you to utilize it on at Athene. So we've got a good presentation put together for you. Just a couple housekeeping things as we get going. If you have questions, I know there's going to be questions that pop up today as we go through the presentation. Just go ahead and type those in and I'll manage those and we'll get those answered as the time goes. Also, I've got a couple poll questions I'm going to be throwing up throughout the meeting today. Quicker we get those answered, the quicker we get moving. So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Laura Johnson. I've been with IMES for, I don't know, 14, 15 years altogether. Worked on new business for about 8. Been on the marketing side for now going on 8 years, 7, 8 years now. So, anything you need assistance with, don't know who to call me. I'll get you to the right person. Happy to help. Um, so I'm just going to go through a couple things a little bit on IMES and we'll jump into the presentation. For those of you who are brand new to IMES or maybe considering joining IMES, first thing I'm going to talk about is for something for you guys. It's called our new producer bonus. And so with our new producer bonus, what we do is you have 180 days to qualify for this bonus. And it's, as you can see, there's 5 different tiers we've got available here. Anywhere from 100,000 up to a million. So index annuity premium counts toward this. And like I said, there's a lot of great things. The reason we do this is off those first pieces of business you write with IMES, we want to say thank you. We want to kick back and give back, whether it be helping you with radio shows or seminars or giving you a little extra cash or marketing reimbursement, helping you on some build a website, those kind of things. We want to partner with you. And we think the best way to do that is in the marketing front. So again, 180 days to qualify from the day you get contracted with IMES. If you're curious where you stand or where you're at on as far as qualifying, just reach out to your marketer at IMES. They can get that answered for you. Then um, we've from there we move you into a marketing reimbursement program. So our marketing reimbursement program, for every 100,000 of index annuity premium you write with IMES, we're going to put $100 in a marketing account for you. For every 100,000 of single premium life production you do, that equals $200. And for every 10,000 of life target premium would equal $200 as well. So again, just constantly earning those marketing dollars. Then when you have expenses that come up for marketing, you send in those receipts to accounting here at IMES and they do a reimbursement. So really great program, just a way for us to say thank you, kick back to you a little bit for marketing. Another program we do have, which I think is a really important program, is our referred producer program. If you've been in the business, referrals are really important to you. They're equally as important to us. I mean, the best agent and a lot of the great agents we have come from referrals from our other agents. So the way this program works is not everyone's maybe wanting to take on the responsibility of downlines and um, potential chargebacks and responsibilities of an agency. So we think this is a good program way for us to put some money back in your pocket and say thanks for the referral. So when your referee gets appointed with IMES, that's $50. And then as you can see there on the screen, the breakdown for life target, index annuity, multi-year guarantee annuity premium, and single premium life. So that's just constantly just earning you dollars when your referee writes business. Those checks are paid out quarterly. And I know those are some of the larger checks we pay out here out of IMES. So probably Stephen Charles's favorite checks to sign as well. Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about just the service here at IMES. I mean, it is part of our name, Insurance Agency Marketing Service. And service is our number one goal. If you've been working with IMES, you know that. I mean, it starts with picking up the phone. If you've called IMES, it probably rings once and you got a live person, maybe twice, and it's all hands on deck here at IMES. I mean, you could have Steve Murray, the CEO, picking up your phone call. It's all hands on deck. We really want to make sure we're picking up that phone and getting your questions answered when you have them. And then that just continues through everything we do. I mean, from case design to making sure you have all the correct forms, making sure your trainings are all compliant before you're going out to write the business. Amber and her team do a phenomenal job. Submission to commission support. I know right now we are in the best interest rate environment we've had in probably 10, 15 years. So all the carriers, not just Athene, all carriers across the board have had longer hold times. They're having longer processing times. It's just part of what we're seeing right now with this higher interest rate environment. So Amber and her team are still holding to their guidelines, following up with the carriers every 2 to 3 business days. We're chasing down transfers out of our office, really trying to do everything we can that's in our power to help get these moved through. So appreciate everyone's patience. Again, it's not just one company. I mean, I was listing off a bunch of them to the guys here before the call today. I mean, Equitrust, North American, Athene, Ocean View, American Life. I mean, the list goes on and on. We're seeing delays at all the carriers. So appreciate everyone's patience on that, but really wanted to note on that. But back to the service, I mean, we're going to hold our service guidelines the same and continue to do for you what we've always done. And then we also are on paperless contracting. So Sure LC, Assurance Pay, super easy contracting platform. Once you're in the system, it makes it really easy to add carriers when you need them. So excited to be on that. But again, IMS isn't looking to be your biggest FMO out there. We're just looking to be number one when people look for service. So that is our goal. Firelight. I love talking about Firelight because guess what? That makes your business get issued, 5 to 7 days faster. And with that, I'm going to touch on a couple of different things, but on this screen, you can see here all the companies listed that are a part of Firelight. There's been a few added to that since this slide's been updated. But the nice thing about working with IMS is you can do a single sign-on to our website and have access to e-apps with all these different carriers. So I hate remembering passwords. Most people do. This avoids that. You remember one and you log into our system. And like I said, and the guys on the call, Grant and Zach, would attest to this. This is what's going to help get your business through faster. As we're seeing these delays at carriers, if you're doing it on a Firelight, you're skipping past 5 to 7 days of processing just to get, and helping getting your business through there faster. So if you aren't familiar with Firelight, we've got training videos, we've got webinars where we walk you through how to do it. I encourage you to consider utilizing Firelight. If you need help getting registered, just give your marketer IMS a call. They can tell you where to go to get signed up for that. The creative team. If you haven't worked with Jacob, the team over there, they do a great job for our agents. I mean, really, we have a full service creative team here in-house working on marketing and digital marketing for our agents. I mean, it could be anywhere from brand new to the business, doing a logo design, getting you business cards. Maybe you want to do a newsletter. Maybe you're looking at doing some social media marketing or email marketing. Jacob and his team can do all of that here in-house. I always say that there's no cost to the creative services if you're continuously doing your business here at IMS. As you're using those marketing, you're earning those marketing dollars, you can utilize them internally for these kind of things as far as the marketing goes. So if you have a project you're working on, you need help with, or you kind of want to bounce some ideas off someone, give your marketer at IMS a call, talk through the project you're looking at doing, and then they can get you lined up with the correct person in the creative team who can help get that done for you. On the screen, you'll see our website, www.imsinc.com. Really great tools out there that you can utilize. I'm not going to bore you, go through the whole website, but again, you have access to e-apps, not just on the annuity side through Firelight, but you've got iGo e-app and Connect for Medicare as well on our website. So regardless if you're doing life, annuity, or Medicare business, one single sign-on, you can complete all those apps. We do give you access to Annuity Rate Watch. We've got the term quoting, with iGo Pipeline or Pipeline, whatever it is. You can get forms. You can check out current rates. We've got our sales resource library out there, which has a ton of client presentations, fact finders. I mean, there's just a lot of great resources. So if you haven't gone out and poked around on the website, I encourage you to do so. If you have trouble finding one of the things I mentioned, give me a call. I'll take 10 minutes, do a Zoom call with you, kind of show you where things are on the website. But a lot of great things that can be utilized out on our website. Not sure if everyone on the call is aware, but we do have a sister company, IMS Wealth Management. It's an RIA. We started up maybe 5 years ago when the DOL was kind of out there looming, and Charles and Steve said it was time. So Charles Jr., Mike Hansen, Joan, Duncan, They do a phenomenal job for our advisors. And a lot of our top advisors, we really built this RIA for the insurance producer. We see a lot of insurance producers, pardon me, that go into households, and let's just say a client has 500,000. Well, we know Athene's only going to be able to take about 300,000 of that. So what are you doing with the other 200,000? If you're not doing something with it, you're just allowing potentially someone else to take over that client, potentially steal the client. So when we built IAMS Wealth Management, we really wanted to have the insurance producer in mind. So we have two different divisions kind of through wealth management. If you're a registered rep, 65 registered, 66. In some states, if you got your CFP, you can get registered with IAMS Wealth Management. They do a great job, just the same service levels that you get here at IAMS on our side, as far as helping with paperwork and following up on things. So they do a great job there. If you're interested in our platform and stuff, we can get you out information on that. But I also want to touch on our client portion of this as well. We have Zach Ree, who is an advisor with us, works with IAMS Wealth Management in their office. And what he does is he works with clients that our agents refer up, that maybe you're just kind of toward the end of your career and you really don't want to get your license. Or maybe you're studying for your exam and you might have to take it once or twice, or you just started studying or you're considering doing it. What Zach does is we can refer clients up to him. He will manage the wealth management portion. You handle the insurance portion. And he will, that money's all in-house with IAMS. No one's going to steal it. No one's going to take over that client for you. And you've got them completely covered in one place. We think that's really important. And so if you are interested in potentially talking to Duncan about either of those sides of the wealth management team, whether it be referring clients up and how that process works, or maybe potentially getting registered with wealth management, just go ahead and answer yes to that question. All that's going to do is generate a phone call from Duncan in my office. He'll go through their platform, kind of guide you through what the process would be like if you needed to refer someone up to us and get any questions answered for you. So that's all that will do if you answer yes to that poll question. So if you get that answered real quick, we can get moving forward. Alrighty. Life and annuity academies. These are probably my favorite thing to talk about because I see so many agents attend these academies and just see their business take off after. So what we do for about 3-4 times a year is an all expense paid life and annuity training. This is not annuities 101. This is not life insurance 101. This is going to be in-depth sales concepts, techniques, ideas. How could we help you take your business to the next level? How are the ways we do that? We bring in several of our top producers who are going to share, hey, here's exactly what I did from going to write 800,000 a year to writing 5 million a year. Here's exactly something I added to what I was already offering my clients that added a bunch to my bottom line. And they're going to share their marketing plans, they're going to share sales ideas, different softwares that you can utilize for different things. Just a lot of great resources. So we think not only that's important to hear from top producers, but we're going to have the next one is actually partnered with Athene. So Athene's going to have some keynote speakers as well, talking about maybe Social Security, different things like that. It's a great investment of 2.5 days. So the dates, if you want to jot them down, November 2nd through the 4th. We just opened registration for this as we just wrapped up our last academy last week. So November 2nd through the 4th, it is all expense paid. So meals, flights, hotels, all of that's covered. We fly you in on a Wednesday afternoon, fly you home Friday right after lunch, and it is a great investment of your time. So if you are interested in potentially joining us for the academy here in November, or maybe November's dates don't work, but you want to be on the list for potential in the future, answer yes to that question. We'll get you out the registration link following the webinar today. You can get registered. Now, what I do tell people is that registration link does not guarantee you a spot. Because what we're going to do is we're going to take all the registrations. You are required to get appointed through IAMS with Athene to attend. And then we're going to give the first seats. Athene has an opinion as well. So we're going to give those first seats to people who have written business. So I like to always be 100% transparent with people. But again, it's a great opportunity. And last I knew, we haven't filled too many seats as of yet. So there's plenty of seats to be filled. So again, answer yes to that. We'll get you out the registration link. Hopefully see you out in Des Moines in November. Last thing I'm going to talk about before I hand it over to the boys is trips. Everyone loves trips. I love trips. So we're really excited. We're going to be, as everyone, well, maybe not everyone knows, but IMES itself does our own 18-month qualification for a big producer summit. That's with all carriers. We'll be announcing the location. I know they've decided on a location. They're just getting the final arrangements booked, contract signed, and we'll be announcing that to everyone. So more to come probably in the next week or two on that. But then we do a second trip every year. We're really excited to be partnered with Athene. Athene has been a longtime partner with IMES. And so this is a 12-month qualification. It started in January, runs through the end of the year. $3 million of Athene production through IMES will get you and a guest in Park City, Utah next year in August. Park City's beautiful mountain country. I'm really excited about this trip, but it'll get you and a guest out there for 4 days and it'll be a great time. So one thing I will mention, so 3 million is a qualification, but Steve Murray has been very nice and he just recently announced double trip credits from now till potentially the end of the year. So really $1.5 million of Athene production could get you and a guest out in Park City. So really excited about it. If you're curious where you stand as far as qualification goes or how many points you've got, just give me a call after the meeting and I can get that number to you. So with that, like I mentioned, we've got Grant Smith and Zach Brown here on the line. I'm going to hand over control to Grant. Grant is our regional VP with Athene. So he's going to be talking a little bit about Roth Conversions. He's got Zach Brown, who's our internal partner there at Athene in the home office, helping us grind through everything every day. They're going to be talking not only about Roth Conversions, but Zach's going to dive in and talk a little bit about a couple products as well. So with that, boys, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Laura, well done, and thanks so much for teeing up the Athene-sponsored trips. We couldn't be more excited for everybody on the line today to go out there. Athene has some of the best products in industry, whether it be for accumulation, income, and or both. Let us know. Pick up the phone. I would challenge you guys to shop us for an illustration from what you're using. Reach out, call Laura and her team, contact Zach or myself. We're together. IMES is one of our most special partners that we have deep history with for more than a decade. So together we're great. They're great partners of ours, and we feel the same about them that way. So with that being said, we're excited to walk through a Roth conversion sales concept today. I'm going to go through kind of a little bit regarding what it is, why we launched the Roth conversions, why it's so important in today's time to consider this. As taxes are at all-time lows right now still. Taxes like they're only going to go up, right? We've got a lot of things to pay for, as many of you have been watching the news and the headlines. There's been a lot of injections of capital cash from the government going back into the economy. Who's going to pay for this? How are we going to pay for that? Most usually it comes out of the consumer's pocket, and that's going to be myself, you, everybody on the phone, and then it's going to be by the raising of taxes, correct? So with that being said, let's dive into why it's important to consider a Roth conversion and what Athene has done to simplify this process. So I'm going to drive this illustration today. As you can see right here, this is myself on the left, and then also my internal partner, Zach Brown. Zach is joined us in the spring, and he's just been a complete rock star. He's another resource available to you in addition to myself to make sure that you have all of your questions answered and theme questions teed up as you meet with your clients. So let's get the show on the road here. A little agenda we're going to be discussing today. I'm going to go through briefly, why Athene now? What is our competitive advantage? What has led us to be the #1 insurance carrier in the space when it comes to index annuity sales. Then we're going to get into the meat of the presentation, which is going to be the partial Roth conversions. As long as you have an IRA, you can make a conversion and pay taxes now to offset taxes later and get more value in that return. So we're going to go over that. And then lastly, Zach is going to highlight the product of the year last year. Some of you may know Performance Elite product. It's the #1 selling product at Athene. It's one of the best, if not the most competitive accumulation product in the industry today. Zach's going to be teeing that up in combination with our sales concept on Roth conversions. Lastly, if we had time, Laura will be helping us out to navigate the Q&A as it comes in. But real quick, let's take a quick look at Athene. let's take a step back here by the numbers. As you can see on this slide right here. Here's our numbers at a glance here. If you take a look on the top left, as Athene has grown, as we are not just an insurance carrier. We merged with Apollo in January. Since that happening, our ratings have surged, and you can see here's the latest ratings. We're A plus rated, right? A rated across the board. In fact, if you look at our total assets right now under management, $234 billion. It just so happens last year we did almost $9 billion of index annuities. That was one of the smallest channels. Athene has 4 other channels. We do pension risk transfer, right? We also look at a few other items of business as well that surpasses what we do when it comes to index annuity sales. So we're not just a one-trick pony pushing annuities. It's much bigger than that. And so we're able to help when it comes into pricing and how we're able to maintain rates. You can see the capital structure we have in partnership with Apollo truly helps us when it comes to renewal rates. But I want to show you this slide right here, right now. We finished number 1. We're very proud of this. 2 years ago, we overtook another carrier that starts with A and ends in Z, and now we took them off the pedestal to maintain that number 1 ranking total FIA sales in the independent advisor space, and we're proud of that. And we want to maintain that spot, and we truly can't do that unless it's our partners at IMES and their producers, you guys on the phone with us today. So we want to make sure that we're doing our part to hold products competitive. And one of the reasons we do that, how are we able to do that so your clients remain happy, is we're in the business of making sure that you guys do not get an adverse phone call from your client asking why did rates drop from what was promised on this contract at delivery, right? When our actuary team launches rates, we want to make sure that we're pricing this out for the next 10 years, this entire block of business. That's important for us, and it's helped us to continue to rise the ranks and get a lot more referrals, because Athene doesn't advertise. We're in the Wall Street Journal. That's it. There's no commercials. So we want to just make sure that we're screening out by having the top product in the industry, whether it be for growth and or income. More importantly, so you guys have the best participation rates and caps. Not only that, Athene will partner with the best investment banks to bring you the best indices in the marketplace today. In fact, if you take a look at the top indexes performing today, you'll see the top 3 all are at Athene year to date. On top of that, let's take a look at the first box here underneath the number 1 FIA sales. We had 5 different solutions in our index annuity portfolio that did over $1 billion each. And not one of those products was in the top 10 in the entire marketplace. So what does that tell you? It tells you that Athene is not a one-trick pony. We don't just have the Allianz ABC or 222 to push. Whatever your client's niche is, pick up the phone. Give us a call. Give IMES a call. Shop us. I guarantee you, whether it's they're looking for a life insurance alternative play, or a pure accumulation play, or you just want protection or the best income payout factor in the marketplace, we're going to have a robust portfolio to select from, right? So pick up the phone. That would be my challenge and call to action for you to make sure you guys, number 1, get contracted with Athene through IMES, and then lastly, pick up the phone and call us, get an illustration and see what we can do for you. And I thought this was important. I want to make sure you guys are aware of Athene, and what we've done, so you guys can have conviction when you're talking about us in the field. Every year, there's a retail structured product conference insurance carriers attend. And it's just inclusive of variable annuity companies, life insurance carriers. And Athene swept the awards last year in 2021. We won Carrier of the Year, Product of the Year, and Performance Elite, which is what we're going to go over today. And then lastly, the Hedging Carrier of the Year. That one's probably the most important. That's going to go into the renewal rate integrity I spoke about. Just as how we're able to price our business and make sure that we can hold rates as steady as possible. In fact, last year alone, we had 16 rate hikes. This year, we've already had between, I think, 4 to 6 rate hikes, which is inclusive of premium bonus hikes on Performance Elite most recently. So we want to make sure that you guys truly understand what we're doing over here, because you guys are a priority for us. And IMES distribution truly is something special. We want to make sure you guys are teed up for success. Let's get into the presentation today. So I'm going to go into a little bit of a background on partial Roth conversions, tee up the idea so you can understand the importance of this as you work with maybe a little bit more affluent customers that want to navigate their tax burden that could come in years, in the future, right? So what are we going to do to help out with that? Well, let's take a step back, right? And this is a slide I think everybody can know the answer to. At rhetorical question, the only two things guaranteed in life are what? Death and taxes. Benjamin Franklin said it. Everybody knows it. It's taught in school books. Those are the certainties of life, right? The government wants our money. So will taxes be higher in the future? Things to think about. Definitely going to be higher in the future. Taxes are currently at all-time historical lows. Federal deficit is growing daily. We have federal stimulus packages, the COVID package. A lot of these things have helped to drive inflation up even more. Now we're raising rates. You've got to have ways to pay for what we're doing as a federal government. That comes from taxes. Other concerns are Social Security. Will they have challenges in the future? I'm worried about my daughter. Will she have an opportunity to benefit from Social Security? Who knows? Where are we going to pay for all that? And inherited qualified IRAs, they're highly taxed. And not only that, the death tax, right? The famous estate tax may be on the rise. They did cap it, but what's going to happen in the future? What if they're going to need more access? And they're going to tax your estate at death? So those are things to be considered of, when you do your risk profiling with your clients. So, the question I have, is there an alternative to escalating taxes? And that's going to be the solution we discussed today. The answer is yes, and it's by form of partial Roth conversions. Athene implemented the partial Roth conversion in April of last year. So it's been in effect for about 1 year, and it's a super simple process, which I'll address here shortly. But when thinking about Roth conversion strategies, some ways to consider what can be done with this. Look, you can convert your IRA assets for your clients to a Roth over time. You can pay taxes right now in exchange for tax-free growth and tax-free distributions later on. There's a minimum 5-year hold after every conversion, so you want to keep that in mind. So if you're going to do a maximum conversion, do it all now if they need the money within 5 years, right? So you want to make sure we're aware of that. And think about the target ages from retirement, right? 55 to 72. This is going to be the time frame when you want to consider Roth conversions, right before the RMD. Convert your Roth IRAs when the marginal tax brackets are much lower than what they would be. So today may be a good time to take advantage of this solution. Also, control your taxes by converting just enough to make sure that your clients remain in that lower tax bracket. Make sure we're doing our part. Now, I'm going to walk through a little sales idea here, utilizing our agility and performance elite contracts and how you can leverage a Roth conversion in an IRA. But first, let's take a look at this example. This is a real life example. This is taken from a physician magazine, a real couple with $2 million in an IRA, right? The couple is age 60, both of them. They had $2 million in an IRA. What they did, before they needed that income to leverage the tax-free distributions, is they started doing Roth conversions. There's an example of what they're going to do over the next 11 years to remain in the same tax bracket. They're going to be converting, as you can see below, starting in 2021 last year. This is the plan the advisor has in place for them. They're going to convert from the $2 million, $59,000 last year. This year, $63,000, and so on. They're going to do what they can over the next 11 years. You can see on the bottom the total in conversions they did, which they're paying taxes on that given year. As soon as they make that conversion, they're paying taxes then at a lower tax bracket. They converted about $677,000 in Roth conversions of that $2 million strategy. Let's see how that's going to amount to. Here's the results. Without the conversion, without converting the $676,000, if they just let that IRA portfolio continue to grow, assuming about an 8.5% rate of return, they're looking at almost $6 million in portfolio value. That's a nice rate of return, right? And just, the challenge of that is it's in an IRA. So at distribution, they're going to be 100% taxed on that. 0% of that amount is going to be tax-free. Now, going back to the previous slide, this strategy that advisor had in place for them, they converted about $676,000 over 11 years into a Roth IRA. Now, on the bottom half of this page, over the series of partial Roth conversions, that ending portfolio value grew to $6.15 million, right? So that's an extra $157,000 and more change that they have in their pockets. And guess what? 42% of that is now tax-free at distribution. So that's $268,000 less in taxes paid from ages 60 to 90. It's kind of astounding numbers, and that's the value of Roth conversions. I want you guys to take a note of from this actual advisor strategy from Physicians Magazine that he's doing. So that's something to consider. Now let's take a look at, why Roth conversions again. Tax-free income. Keep more of what you have worked for, right? Partial Roth conversions, that's going to be the pathway to tax-free income for you guys. And not only that, Athene makes it easy. We have a simple application process. It's one page. Using Athene's e-app or a paper app, even, you have a partial Roth conversion capability. Keep in mind, when your client has that IRA already established at Athene, all you do is you file that Roth conversion. You send that in. There's not a new policy number. It just creates an alphanumeric policy number under your already established IRA account. So if your policy number is 3300, you file that, you do a $60,000 Roth conversion on a $100,000 policy. That new Roth IRA policy is going to be 3300A. You're still going to be able to see it into the portal. It's going to be trackable all under one policy number, just with a numeric character after the original policy number for every conversion. It's purely simple. Let's take a look at a case study here. This is going to be Agility 10 and Performance Elite. Now, Agility also won Product of the Year a couple years back. Performance Elite won it most recently in the overall marketplace. Two top strategies we have in our portfolio at Athene. Now, some of you may not know Agility on the line, but I'll kind of just give you a simple, basically it's going to be our income product. So the goal here of this case is really to show using an accumulation product to take in, and basically in combination with income. And they're going to be leveraging Performance Elite as the accumulation, and they're going to be taking, so there's going to be a $200,000 split case policy that they're sending over to Athene. $100,000 is going to go into Performance Elite, and they're going to be using this to take the 10% free withdrawals from to pay taxes now on the Roth conversions on the other $100,000 that went into Agility. Every conversion you do on Agility of $10,000 under the $100,000 is going to have that premium bonus. I'm sorry, that income-based bonus of 35% also applied to the conversion. And I'll show you that in an example. But here's the background on this case study. You got a 59-year-old client. They have income needs, and they want to use current qualified dollars to pay any taxes from that partial conversion. Again, it's at $200,000 of qualified money. They have a desire to retire in 10 years and a flexible income stream. So the solution is going to be to place a portion of the assets in our Performance Elite and use that product and the free withdrawals to cover the taxes after the conversion is made today. And then using the income product to create a laddered income and flexibility of rider activation. And that's going to be tax-free income later, right? So the outcome is going to be flexibility for their planning purposes, and you're going to allow the client to be able to pay income now using free withdrawals and also give them tax-free income. Let's take a look at what that looks like. So on the top here, this is going to be your Performance Elite contract. Again, this is a $200,000 split case. And again, this is assuming that no interest has been made at all, just to keep things simple. So on the top, this is going to be Performance Elite. You've got $100,000 that went in. Each year, you can see that there's it's dropping by $10,000. That's because you're taking $10,000 out, assuming that's what you're using to offset the taxes when you do the conversion down below. Now down below, this is the solution, and this is going to get you guys the tax-free income we're talking about. This is the Agility. You can see the second column, it's a $100,000 policy. Each year, you're doing a $10,000 conversion. So in the fourth column, you can see that conversion amount of $10,000. Now look at the second column from the right. That's going to be the new income base Each conversion, $13,500 creates the new income base. And as I mentioned, on the far right column, you can see the contract number just goes to alpha. The policy number is 1. Each conversion, you just add a new letter. So it's all trackable in the portal. So as you can see, over the next 10 years, they're doing a conversion on this. The account value has dropped from the original base policy, but the income base continues to stay the same. In fact, each conversion, they're going to get that 35% bonus applied going forward. So they're going to get that same premium bonus and be able to leverage this income base for the conversion when they want to take income. This is a split case scenario. And again, you don't have to do a split case. This is just an idea. In fact, if they don't have, let's say they don't have any liquid assets to offset taxes right away, you can do a split case, these leverage-free withdrawals at Athene that are available day one to offset taxes on a conversion. Again, they may have the cash, which they can do it again. So in this case, it could have been a $200,000 gone into agility and done a 10%, free, conversion at that rate. Whatever that you want, the client has the flexibility, and we're going to make sure that we have the flexibility to give it to them. So let's recap real quick, Roth conversions. Here's things to know about the process that's important to know.
Hey, Grant, before you go on to this part real quick, I just have a couple questions on the examples we just went through I want to cover real quick, just so we don't. One thing someone asked is what's the best way to calculate how much to convert each year? And I can take this question. So when we're talking about Roth conversions, like that example prior to this one where we looked at that client with $2 million, you see that each year there was like a different amount that we converted each year. Sorry, I know it's back a few slides. I just didn't want to cut you off. But the reason why there's different amounts each year is because we talk about filling up those tax brackets. If I'm $3,000 or $30,000 away from being in the next tax bracket, I'm probably going to convert about $29,500 just so I stay under and I stay in the same tax bracket. So as you can see on the screen here on the different years, the amount varied based on the amount of money that they were making those years or how much they had coming in and different things. You want to just, again, stay in that same tax bracket. So that's what when you're figuring out the amounts, you really want to look at where they are and how much income they've got coming in and make sure that we're not putting them in a higher tax bracket as we do the conversion. So that was the one question. I just wanted to kind of touch on that real quick. And then the other thing people are asking about the money to pay the taxes. I mean, the big thing when you're doing a conversion, and we'll touch on this a little bit more as we go in this on the next few slides. But the key, like Grant just said, is you really want to have a second outside. If you're going to convert all 200,000 that you're putting in an Athene product for conversions, you want to make sure you have other monies outside to pay the taxes. Because you don't want to come in and convert 30% of your Athene policy in 1 year because you can, and then you want to go take a 10% free withdrawal out of the same policy to pay the taxes because you're going to inquire surrender charges and things like that. They're going to allow you to do more than your 10% if you want to in a given year without any penalty. The big thing is knowing that you have money on that outside source to pay those taxes, whether it be in a brokerage account, savings, checking, things like that. The split case that he's talking about is a great idea for someone who maybe doesn't have money in another source for the conversion. So we're putting money in Performance Elite, and we're going to take some 10% free withdrawals to help get some money to pay the taxes, right? And then we're going to convert the other 100,000 to Roth over the next 10 years and not have to touch that money. So just to clarify those few questions. Sorry to cut you off there. I just wanted to answer them when they came in.
Yeah, glad you did it. It's nice to have some other years on this that know the strategy too. So Laura's a pro, you guys. She's been working with us on Roth conversions for clients for a while. So you're in good hands with her. But again, that's the idea, right? And again, make sure that there's obviously liquid cash or discretionary income elsewhere to offset any conversion, because again, you will have to pay taxes now. And keep in mind, there's no max to how much you want to convert, right? You just want to make sure, to Laura's point, that you're going to keep your clients in that lower tax bracket to do that conversion then. That's why the values were different. But
and then there's a couple after we're doing this now, a bunch more questions are popping up. So with the Performance Elite 7, and we're gonna get, I'm not trying to steal your thunder, Zach, but we're gonna have, it has 10% free withdrawal, right? So you can take 10,000 out. Now, if you are doing it, it does have 10% free withdrawal. So if we're not earning interest and we have to reduce, you would have surrender charges if you have to take more than you need. Now, another thing, which we'll talk about in products, and I'm not trying to, again, jump too much into products, and I can follow up with you guys after this a little on this, but they've also on the agility has 10% of initial premium. So if you have to set up 2 annuities, you could also do, if you need to, do 2 agilities, knowing that you can take 10,000 out of agility every year because of the 10% of initial premium. So um, I'll follow up with you guys as far as some of these questions following the webinar. All right, back to
For
you.
sure. Yeah, you bet. Yeah, so we'll just move along here and keep things going while we're on the topic. But some important things to notate when it comes to Roth conversions that your clients should be aware of. Again, it does create a taxable event, right, at that given time. There's a 1099-R that we're going to send out, or 5498 form will be distributed in the calendar year following the Roth conversion. Again, Roth distributions can be taken after age 59 and a half, 5 years after conversion, with growth being considered after tax. So keep that in mind. So there's a 5-year delay before you can you can leverage that conversion. And then the Roth conversions cannot be recharacterized or redone once they've been implemented. And then the last 3 bullet points here, obviously Roth funds are not subject to RMDs, as we know. That's the structure of the Roth and the value in that. And they're non-taxable at death benefit, even better. And finally, you have the ability to convert more than the personal contribution limit set by the IRS. So that's pretty huge as well. We also have an FAQ guide, a facts, answers, and question guide. It's a 1-pager back-to-back that addresses all the questions when it comes to Roth conversions that you may have. Some of these questions may be coming into right now, Laura. But again, a few that you want to know is the minimum amount for each contract. It has to be at least $2,000 that you're going to be converting if there is going to be a conversion. However, there's no max, right? You can convert as much as you want. Just make sure that you can offset those taxes that are incurred. So again, we have this. This is going to address all the questions you or your client may have as it comes to that. And then if you are contracted with Athene, you can search for this form. That flyer number is on the bottom right. Take note of that. We can also make sure that we get this out to you. I can send this to Laura to distribute to everybody on the phone today after our webinar. And then we spoke about the simplicity and the process of doing the Roth conversion, right? This is it. It's a simple form. It tells you exactly what you want to do, whether it's a percentage or an actual dollar amount that you want to convert. Send this in, voila, you're done. Conversion's made. And this is all under the same policy number. So there's not a new policy number. There's nothing complex. We try to keep it as simple as possible for you and your client, right? That's what we're in the business of doing. So finally, we can get some Q&A after the fact, but for sake of time to keep things rolling, I feel like we should probably hand the reins over to my partner, Zach. And Zach, our award-winning accumulation strategy, the #1 product in the space for growth right now today. So Zach, with that, I'll guide the slides for you. Let me know when to transition forward, and I'll hand the reins to you. The floor is yours.
Hey, thank you very much, Grant. Appreciate the introduction there. And yes, so today, I'll be touching on our #1 selling solution in Athene's overall portfolio that Grant alluded to earlier. And one other thing that he touched base on was our structured retail product of the year. That is our Performance Elite product. So, this is strictly accumulation only. One thing to remember, so no income riders, it's purely for growth and is the best in the business at it. So as we are going through, this deck, if you could, I just ask you to think of a client that you could promise, a financial vehicle or solution where they're not going to lose any money of their investment. It also has uncapped growth potential. And you can do all of this at no fees or have reversible fees. And on the next slide, we will discuss our top 10 reasons to choose Performance Elite. So right off the bat, you get a premium bonus at issue. Another good portion of this is you have a no fee on the base version, Also, our market leading index performance with the plus version, our Performance Elite Plus version, you get the enhanced liquidity, and there is the penalty-free withdrawals in year 1 for PE7 or year 2 for our Performance Elite 10. Of course, if you get the plus versions, those are available in year 1. There is also a strategy charge credit, which I'll get into a little bit later, and we are available to issue this all the way up to age 83 in the PE7. And as well, on the last 3 bullet points there, it is a couple of our terminal illness and confinement waivers, a return of the premium on the plus versions of our Performance Elite product, and of course, a lump sum death benefit. So on our next slide, this is kind of a nice snapshot of our Performance Elite 7 and 10 that shows both the base version and the plus version. So on the left, it is the light green, that is our base version, and the plus is on the right. So kind of the way I look at our Performance Elite Plus version is it has the extra bells and whistles. So pretty much what they're doing with the plus version, you get a higher premium bonus, you get the return of premium option, and you also have that enhanced liquidity that we'll discuss a little bit more in greater detail later. And one thing I do want to note, we did just hike our premium bonuses last month. So even with the base version, of course, I'm looking at the Performance Elite 10 here. You know, it's still incredibly competitive, even on the base version, but if they decide to go with the plus version, there is a small cost of 95 bips, but it does give you that extra performance and that higher premium bonus. Also, while we're kind of into it here, on our suitability team, you know, we are one of the few ones that do allow some of these premium bonuses to offset any surrender charges. You know, it's our standard for most of our national business is 2%, but of course in California that is 0% since they're a no loss state. But high level example, let's say they get into a Performance Elite 7 and it has a 5% bonus on it. There's a, you know, that can offset if there's a 3% loss on it to get us at the 2% so it can get suitability approved. And on our next slide, we will go into our crediting rates. So this is an example of a Performance Elite 7. The red highlighted section we have there is our low volatility indices. So at Athene, we are a big believer in participation rates because there is uncapped potential. You know, as you kind of look down there, we do have the annual point-to-points if you do have clients that are interested in that, and those are still very competitive. But if you do look at those participation rates, it does give you an option to buy more upside on the potential. So a quick look at the BMP Paravis. If you look at the no charge rate, it's currently at 230%. Let's, you know, just to make it simple, let's say you get your index does a 10% return, your client's gonna get 230% of that. So that's gonna be 23%. And then if let's say at a cost of, you know, if they decide they wanna go to that strategy charge rate at 1.25%, which again, I do wanna note we did just lower that from 1.75, so that's a new strategy charge rate that's even lower. So they could buy that to 300%. So let's use that same scenario. Your index does 10%, client gets 300% of that, they are now getting 30%. So the way the market is currently at, not a bad time to maybe get into some of those strategy charge options. On our next slide, you know how we talked about the Performance Elite 7. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm one overhead. So this slide is something that really currently shows the options your client has. So as you can see, you know, we have 5 indices plus a fixed option. So it shows here, you know, you're not limited to only the point-to-point options and they can do what they want. So one example on the bottom right there, you know, if you look at the bottom right, your client, it shows really what your clients can do. They can go into a no charge, they can go 100% to a charge, or they can do both. So an example, let's say they go 50% charge and a 50% no charge. So originally, as we alluded to earlier, it would be a 1.25% if they were fully in the charge strategies. Since they went 50-50, they're only going to be charged 63 bips or 0.63%. And on our next slide, this is when we were talking about the one-time strategy charge credit. So this is a really neat extra feature that, as far as I'm aware of, I think Athene's one of the only one that really offers it, and that is where I talked about earlier about a client that could have the option of getting fees, or if they don't, they can have those fees reversed. This is that example. So if you look here, let's say somehow, some way, the client doesn't earn any interest, and you did leverage that strategy charge, which we spoke of earlier. So Athene's going to cover that loss of money. So in this example, the premium was 100,000, the strategy charges were 15,000, and the client only got an interest credit total of 13,000. So that makes the accumulated value less than what the initial premium that was put into it. So Athene is going to pay up the difference to get back to that cost basis. So this is a way where you can explain to your client that, again, they will never walk away with any lost money. And on our next example, I know if you're like me, we always kind of like to see the numbers. So this is an example of a case study of a Performance Elite 10. This is one I just do want to point out. This is, for a 6-year-old client. We are in the no charge fees. I just want to go ahead and point that out. And in this example, it's a client in California. So if you look at year one, they started with 250,000 with the premium bonus. Again, no fee version, so no fees coming out. And they decided to allocate 30 into our AI powered index, 30 in our BMP, and 40% in our NASDAQ. So that is our US equity index. So no cherry picking. They decided to go ahead and diversify these, get in our 3 low volatility indexes. And if you look after year one with that premium bonus, they're already at 257,000. Again, this is a naked annuity, no fee, no income rider, just purely diversified for accumulation growth. And if you look in the top right up there, they're getting 8.19%, almost 8.2 or 8.20%. It's a conservative product, but it's at a very, very competitive rate. Let's say we fast forward 10 years. If you look down in that second yellow square, it is now more than doubled, and we're at 566,000. And so if you keep looking down a little bit more on the right side, or the red circle at 84, one other thing you can do, let's say after the 10 years, of course, we know that they are free to do with it as they please. So you could even renew the contract that gets you paid again. Or in this example, let's just say the client let it ride. And at 84, the unfortunate event happened and, the client passes. And let's assume they took no withdrawals, just sat there, sat it and forgot it, and just let it grow. So if you look to the right, your client's beneficiaries in this option of the no strategy fees is going to be walking away with close to 1.74 million after a $250,000 investment. Pretty remarkable numbers there. And on our next slide, it is the same example. We are just using the with charge strategies. So if you look in the top right, same strategies went into. This time we're just going into charge. Same 30, 30, and 40. So as you can see in year one, still get that premium bonus. But in this event, they're getting almost 15% annualized rate of return, 14.79 to be precise. So let's again assume that they've taken no withdrawals. They let it ride after, at age 69, after 10 years, at the age of 70, they are almost at $1 million. They are at $954,000. Yes, they are paying that 1.25%, strategy charge rate to get that, But I mean, the extra returns in this are kind of proof in the pudding right here. Is they're getting almost an extra 350,000 just to have that extra charge or pay that extra charge to get that extra amount of interest. So again, like the previous study we looked at, let's say, you know, the unfortunate event occurs at 83, the client passes. If you look to the right there, that beneficiary is going to be walking away with $5.8 million after the case is done here. So it's just some dynamite numbers with how the strategies without charges can pay your client, and even those ones with charges can pay it. And if you guys have any questions on this, since we're looking at illustrations, don't hesitate to give me a call if you do have any questions on this fantastic accumulation play we have here. And on our next slide here, you know, this is another nice snapshot of all the product features. So, you know, if you look to the left, there are PE7, you know, again, remember that light green is the base version and the dark green is the plus version. So if you look to the right there, that plus version for the 95 bips, you're getting everything checked off. You know, you get the premium bonuses, you got the confinement waiver, the terminal illness waiver, free withdrawals immediately available, and that's where that enhanced liquidity come into play as well. So as we always know, sometimes the client needs money, life happens. If they do not take their 10% penalty free in the first year, guess what? That second year, they're going to have up to 20%. As well, we have a return of premium after the fourth contract year, which is exactly what it states. Give us 4 years. If the client decides that it's not something they're looking at, they can do a return of premium option. No fees, we'll return that premium for them. And of course, it has our enhanced annuitization available. Unfortunately, not available in California or Florida for our Performance Elite 7. So again, that 95 extra bip, that 95 bips that you're paying just gives you a little extra juice to kind of give all the features that the product has. So as you can see, the base version or the plus version can meet your clients who need a strong accumulation product. Again, thank you so much for the time and letting me discuss our 2021 SRP product of the year, our Performance Elite.
Well, thank you very much, Zach and Grant. Great presentation there. A lot of great information. We've had a lot of questions popping up, and I will be following up. So just a couple things, just want to talk with everyone on the line before we disperse here. I'm going to throw a last poll question up. If you're interested getting appointed with Athene or getting all the information covered on this, if Zach, if you could ship me over a slide deck, or Grant, one of you guys. A lot of people have been asking for some of the different slides. Just answer yes to this. I'll get you. You guys are all going to get an email with a recording of the webinar, a copy of the slide deck. We'll include like the FAQs and the copy of the form so you kind of see. But one thing I just wanted to mention is when we're talking about partial Roth conversions, you talk about doing business with someone who's easy to do certain things with. Doing a Roth conversion at Athene is easy. They make it easy. There's other companies where you have to do a brand new application. You can only do 10% a year. I mean, there's a lot of other caveats. So doing one-page form and being able to make those conversion is huge. So I would encourage everyone to consider Athene as a premier partner when it comes to doing partial Roth conversions, because they really have made it a simple process. Yeah, so if you are interested in getting appointed or need the information, just go ahead and answer yes. You'll get an email from Dustin in my office. He'll send out all this information to anyone on the call today, along with the recording as well. So yeah, and then I will be following up with each of you individually as well. So if you have any additional questions, feel free to give me a call. And Zach, Grant, appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us, and same to everyone else who joined us for the call. Have a great, what's today? Today's Wednesday. Have a great Wednesday.
Thanks so much, Laura. Thanks to everybody on the call today.
Yes, thank you all so much.
All right, bye.